Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide, Standing Edition. Today I want to talk a little bit about a new product that's piqued my interest, and it's not an e-ink or e-note taking tablet or anything like that. It's actually a portable little console. Now, some of you know that I am a video game developer, so definitely this really piqued my interest, but doubly so because this is not an ordinary handheld console. It's called PlayDate, and they just released like a new update video which offered more details, and this time I actually got excited because it shows quite a few interesting things. So let's check it out a little bit and see what's it like. First of all, what is it? What is this thing? Well, PlayDate is a tiny handheld gaming console with a twist, but literally it has a little crank that you pop out and you use as an analog type of control. So it's as simple as that, but simple things tend to be interesting if they are done properly. So let's start with the design of this thing. Obviously, it's very small, so not only is it handheld, but it can fit comfortably in a pocket. But despite its small size, it looks like it has been built extremely well. Now, this is also doubled by the fact that it's been designed by Teenage Engineering. And if you don't know about them, then you're probably not in the audio kind of world. But if you're coming from an audio world, then you know the name Teenage Engineering, and it's usually associated with excellent design. And not only do they make good designs, but they also make high quality designs. So it's not a new name, and that's something that really makes me feel good about this product, because when you have something that big like Teenage Engineering behind them, then you know that stamp means for something. Obviously, one of the main defining features of the PlayDate is that crank to the side. The controls, they look like a standard NES controller, so you have your D-pad and your two buttons, but you also have that crank on the side, which definitely stands out as a defining feature of the product. Overall, I really love how this thing looks. It's 10 buckets sorts of different cutenesses all around, but yet it manages to be modern. It's a really interesting thing that they managed to do here, where they've kind of fused together minimalistic, like super black and white screen minimalistic games, just a couple of controls, a crank, and yet it looks modern as well. And I can't wait to see more and to see how it actually is in real life, because from everything that I see here, it looks really freaking gorgeous and interesting. As far as specifications go, well, they don't matter that much, because PlayDate will have a bespoke library of video games, which means no ports or anything like that, but let's just go through them. PlayDate is powered by a 180 megahertz CPU. Now, this blows my mind, because it just, reminds me back into the older days. It seems like it's normally balanced, that they've created a system that's enough to run what they need it to run. So 180 megahertz CPU with 32 kilobytes of level 1 cache, and it also has a whopping 16 megabytes of RAM. The architecture supports Lua and C languages. Storage-wise, it has 4 gigabytes. I don't think it's expandable because I don't see any slots anywhere, but given the fact how simple and small these games are, 4 gigabytes of storage for these games should be yeah, like an entire universe. So we'll see how the packaging and everything, all that goes when you actually deploy a video game, but 4 gigabytes seems to be more than enough for a platform of this type. They didn't release the exact capacity of the battery, but they say that it's good enough for 8 hours of active use and 14 days of standby time. That sounds pretty much okay, as long as you can pull through a normal use case scenario of an entire day. You can always chuck it into the charger overnight and be done with it. So for me, that sounds okay. It has Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz only, Bluetooth, mono speaker, stereo jack for stereo speaker, has a microphone. As far as the controls go, it has obviously a D-pad, it has an A and B button for controls, it has sleep plus menu buttons, a 3-axis accelerometer inside, which is also interesting because it will have tilt and twist commands, and of course that crank that you pull out and crank away. Now, here is one of the reasons why I was happy that I can include this little gadget into my deep guide, and it's the screen itself. That's something that also makes it very interesting, because in the world of OLEDs and all of these kinds of things where the trends are bigger, more resolution and all that kind of stuff, they actually decided to go with a 400 by 240 pixels 1-bit screen. Now, 1 bit means that you have black and white pixels and that's it. From a game developer standpoint, that's also actually a defining feature, because you have to think of your assets, of your design and your aesthetics in a purely binary type of way, which is really, really refreshing to see. And it's not an ordinary black and white screen. It's not backlit. It's instead reflective. And that's the defining feature of all of these products that I'm reviewing here. It's basically, I'm trying to get away from backlit devices, and PlayDate definitely fits the bill. Now, what about that crank on the side? So it flips out and it can turn in either of directions. The crank itself is made out of metal, so it's not a gimmick at all, and it seems like it has been made properly and designed properly. Again, designed by Teenage Engineering. That's something that I would expect from a stamp of approval like that. It actually functions as an analog controller that allows you to dial in a certain amount of data or action or whatever you may choose to be for your game, for the characters. Now, they're already starting to implement that and show in a couple of release titles how it can be used, but you know, the imagination is the only limitation here, and that's one of the things that I really like about the PlayDate. Generally speaking, it's a super simple console. So you have your screen, you have a D-pad, and you have controls like A and B controls. That's pretty much it. That's like NES type of controls. But they didn't overcomplicate it with new stuff. They just added one more element to the formula that we all know that works. And that's something that takes experience and guts to actually decide, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And I'm extremely happy that a product like this, that an idea like this actually can get to a stage where they are now, where they're almost ready to start getting the pre-orders, which is absolutely fantastic, because this is not a mainstream product, but it looks so much fun, and it looks like it can be so much fun that I'm just like really giddy. And from a gameplay development perspective, adding that just one new feature really does mean a lot, because that means that when you start designing your video game, you can focus clearly your ideas. You don't have to move around different kinds of different ideas and use a little bit of this feature, use a little bit of that feature, etc., etc. No, I mean, you can definitely just focus on normal gameplay that's expanded by that one crank, if you will. What's also interesting to see is that even now in pre-order phase, it's gonna have some accessories to go with it. So we already have two accessories that they've talked about. The first one is the stereo dock, which is like a cube-like stereo speaker, higher quality stereo speaker than the one that you have on the device itself. And yeah, it also doubles up as a charger for the PlayDate. Now, the cool thing is that it magnetically snaps onto the stereo dock. So you can just kind of snap them together and have one kind of a unit. It has a little stand so that it can sit on your desk nicely, and it has a pen holder on top as well. So really just this kind of playful attitude It oozes fun all around, and I really do like it. Now, they haven't listed the price for the stereo dock, so I hope that it's not too expensive and that it actually is priced at something that will make sense for the customers to buy. And the second accessory is the cover, protective cover for the PlayDate. It looks cute. It's also magnetic. It snaps like that, and it looks like it can flip around normally and hopefully snap back onto the backside cover when you're kind of use it. So it's a good idea to kind of have something that will protect a screen and everything in a device that's probably going to spend a lot of time in bags, pockets, and all sorts of places like those. And that one is priced at $29. When we talk about a new game console, whatever type of it, one part of it is the hardware itself, and the much more important second part are the games and the whole ecosystem there. And there are a couple of things that are quite cool but also risky with the PlayDate environment. Now, first of all, they are all, because of the nature of the architecture and how it is, and it's using 1-bit display and the controls and all of that kind of stuff, that means that games that you will have on the PlayDate environment or platform are truly exclusives. So these are not games that you can just grab from Unity and port the build that was made for iOS or Android on PC or Mac or anything like that. No. This is a completely different beast that needs to be developed from scratch, bespoke for this platform. Now, this is an excellent thing because that means that you will have original titles that are made bespoke, made for this platform. Now, the second part that's really interesting is the whole game delivery method that they have. And they have a system where you actually receive during the launch, so with your PlayDate that you buy, you will get 24 games for free, and those will be released over the period of 12 weeks. So once you register your device, you will start getting 2 new games every week for 12 weeks. And after those 12 weeks, you have 24 games, and after that, we'll see. It's not really clarified yet, but what is clear is that on the release, you will have 24 games, and you'll be getting them at a rate of 2 per week. One of the other things that I really appreciate about this whole venture that I see here about PlayDate is the honesty that we get to see from them. So they themselves also say directly about the games on the website in huge block letters. That's 24 free games in lots of genres. Some are short, some are long. Will you love them all? Probably not. How often do you hear that? When was the last time that you heard that level of honesty from a company? So that's something that I really value and like quite a lot. And then they continue on saying, will you have a great time trying them? Absolutely. And that definitely makes sense. Now, in their video, they've showed off quite a few games. It looks like some are more ready than others, but they kind of look very much all over the place, which again I quite like, because it's not just like a formula thing, it's just explore and have fun. And that level of freedom that's associated with games, that's something that we haven't had in a very long time as far as the video games community goes, because the business models have locked the platforms very quickly. The mobile phones being completely locked with the ads or free to play kind of method, which I absolutely hate. And then on the other hand, you have a whole different ball game where you have to conform to the publishers and what the publisher says and blah. So this is something very fresh, and the mentality behind it reminds me of the mentality of what we actually had with Atari 2600, where you had a bunch of people creating games for fun. That's something that I really like about the PlayDate and what they seem to be reintroducing at this point in time. Now, obviously, a new game platform will only be as strong as their library of games is, because stronger the library of games is, more potential users they will have. Especially true if you have a listing of only exclusive titles. Now, that's a razor's edge, because that can go either terribly wrong or really, really well. There's very rarely middle ground when you are all in a business model like this. So a really good idea is what they're already showing, which is that the development for the PlayDate is free for anyone. You're free to develop video games for the PlayDate yourself, and you don't need a dedicated dev kit. Instead, you can use your normal PlayDate console and use it as a dev kit. Now that's a huge plus for a business model that's young like this one, because it means that it's easier for game developers to get into this. Dev kits are like bespoke versions of a console that are for development, and usually they're very costly, and it's a long process to actually get them and all these kinds of things. So seeing this is very, very refreshing. They don't have a distribution/store solution as of yet, but it's something that they are actively looking into. But they are not preventing at this time you as a developer, for example, if you make a game, that you sell it on your website, because they promise that the games can be side-loaded in a very straightforward manner into the console. So that actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. We're still waiting on the updated SDK documentation, which will actually show how easy and how powerful it is to actually develop video games for this platform. But yeah, they're definitely working on it, and it's going to be interesting to see the SDK once it finally comes out. The pre-ordering process for the PlayDate will start in July, I believe, and the price is currently listed at $179 plus taxes and shipping, of course. The speaker, as I said, is not price listed. If it's reasonably priced, then it actually makes sense to take it into consideration. And the cover is priced at $29. Now, that cover looks really, really good, but I think that price tag at pretty much $30 is a little bit steep. I think that's, when you combine it with the 179, that brings just the device and the cover, that already puts it a little bit over $200, and I think that's just a little bit too high. What are my thoughts regarding the PlayDate? Well, obviously I like it, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it here in this manner, since it doesn't really fit in general content of the My Deep Guide channel, but why not? I'm going to expand to products that I find interesting, because that's what I like. I love the design. I think that it looks super cute and super fun, and that's what I'm looking for from a gadget like this, something that makes me happy. I love the crank concept, that you have a combination of super simple design yet quality execution, the metal analog controls and all that kind of stuff. So simple but versatile and very innovative. The games look like they can be an excellent way to quickly pass the time while you're waiting on something, I don't know, a rendering, a bus or anything like that. And coupled with the small portability of it, it's always with you, and as long as the battery thing claim is good, then it means that it's going to be ready for you to actually just pop it out of pocket and, do a couple of rounds of the video game. Oh, the bus is here, pop it in the pocket and off you go. It really looks like it's going to be able to bring quite a lot of fun. The openness of the platform towards the developers, now that absolutely makes sense, business sense from their side to do, but I love that we can already see that happening and that they are giving it enough importance. So that combined, I really, really like what I see. Especially the fact that this whole environment and ecosystem means that you truly will have exclusive video game titles, unlike some other retro video game concepts, which are actually just mobile phones packed into a case that looks like a foot massager, and then they sell it for $300 and tell you, hey, that's what you want. Not that. I really like this kind of a genuine exclusive content, not just ports of stuff. Speaking of the price, the grand total on this thing, if you want the accessories with the cover and the speaker, since we don't know the price for the speaker, but seeing how the cover is priced at $30, I don't see that speaker being priced less than $50. So if we're talking about $80 more, then we're like at $260 for the whole shebang. And that, I think, is a little bit too high for a thing like this. Why? Well, it brings it perilously close to the Nintendo Switch. And the Nintendo Switch is a beast that you can very often get at sales now for $300. So that might be a problem. But here at least you get a truly unique gameplay experience, but then again you also do get most of the unique stuff on the Nintendo Switch. They're just simply two different types of beasts. It's just that the prices for my liking, with the whole bundle, like the speaker and the cover and the PlayDate, I think it's just too close to the Nintendo Switch for comfort. So I hope that after they have initial pre-orders, and I hope that the sales go well, so that they are able to start offering it as a bundle price for something that's a little bit more distant from the Nintendo Switch, just to create a little bit more distance between the Nintendo Switch, and then I think it's going to be perfect. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Are you interested in stuff like this? Does it actually bring some kind of memories, ideas? Just your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and ding the notification bell to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Do remember to check out their promo video that's linked down below, so that you can see more info about the video games and all that kind of stuff, because they explain it better than I will, so I didn't want to double on the info there. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!